With their school flooded, Valley Park children are waiting tonight to hear what their future holds. Good evening. The Merrimack is finally below flood stage tonight for the first time in a week.
But it leaves devastation behind. As the 2 News Team's Jill Farmer shows us, some of the houses are not just damaged, they're destroyed.
This is the picture that greeted Betty LaRue when the Merrimack finally receded enough for her to come back to her home along its banks. Now, the flooded river ripped her 5-bedroom house off its foundation and carried it down the road.
Just total shock, I guess. This house stood for a long time, and it surprised me that it took it away, but it had a real swift current this time.
When you look at the Merrimack gently rolling along in its banks today harmlessly, it's hard to believe that just a few days ago it had the power to do this kind of destruction. While the hardest hit here along the river's banks decide what to do next, others gather to give thanks.
Like God is so great, we couldn't stop the flood.
Parishioners here at the... Meanwhile, homeowners like the Reeds hose silt and mud the river's invasion left behind. And they begin pumping their waterlogged basements.
My new kitchen floor is going out on the front street. So was my beautiful blue carpet with the real thick padding is out there now. But I feel better because now it's happening. I'm in here. I have control of the situation now. I'm cleaning it. I'm taking over and the water's out of here.
You know what you can do? As 8-year-old Jerry Reed helps clean up her home, she feels relieved knowing cleaning crews are working furiously at her school. Hoping to get it scrubbed and disinfected so the elementary and middle school students can come back here as soon as possible. The Valley Park School Board meets Monday to decide how soon kids can come back and whether or not they'll need to go somewhere else to school until the buildings here are ready.
The Red Cross has opened 2 disaster service centers in Valley Park. They are at Twin Oaks Presbyterian Church and the First Baptist Church. Both centers will help flood victims get temporary housing as well as clothes, bedding, and medication.
Also in Valley Park, startling evidence of just how high the river rose. On Wednesday, we shot video of the high water lapping at a trestle at 141 near I-44. At its highest point, the Merrimack was 23 feet above flood stage. Today, our crew went back to the same spot, and the water has dropped dramatically in just a few days. 141 at 44 finally reopened this weekend. And a 100-year-old house catches fire tonight.
Red Cross has opened 2 disaster service centers for flood and storm victims. Residents stopping by the centers will be given a temporary place to stay and vouchers so they'll be able to purchase the essentials that they need.
This gives people the dignity.
Down, and it may be months before families are back on an even keel. Good evening, I'm Jean Jackson in for Kay Quinn.
And I'm Jeff Feller. Our top story tonight, many Valley Park homeowners are dealing with the reality that it will be months before they can return to their flood-damaged homes.
And as News Channel 5's Michelle Hoffland reports, the Merrimack has left a mess of mud to keep cleanup crews busy for weeks.
Valley Park looks like a war zone. Entire contents from hundreds of flooded homes line the streets. And everything left in this basement at Valley Park High School is also destroyed. But most of the furniture and school supplies at Valley Park schools were moved out before the floodwaters moved in. Specially trained cleaning crews are quickly mopping up the water and mud.
What we're here to do is take a job that may take a month or so to get accomplished and get them turned around in a matter of a few days.
850 children attend these schools, and it could be 2 weeks before they reopen.
While the floodwaters at the school were about 2 feet deep, many homeowners here had floodwaters all the way up to here. And these folks don't have insurance to pay for cleaning crews to clean up all this mess.
The Holtz family is moving to Arnold while they rebuild their home, and the children will be enrolled in Arnold schools. Their mother says she doesn't want to wait for Valley Park schools to reopen. Her children aren't happy.
I don't want to go to a different school and stuff. I want to stay here. I don't like to go through this stuff on and on. So I'm thinking of moving too.
Amy and Davy plan to return to Valley Park schools next fall, even though the school hopes to reopen 1 week from Monday. In Valley Park, Michelle Hoffland, News Channel 5.
Valley Park School Superintendent tells us that classes there are canceled through Friday, but Sacred Heart Catholic School in Valley Park will reopen tomorrow.
Sacred Heart School may be safe for students to return to, but assessors aren't sure about other homes and buildings, so they began inspections today. Already they found 4 homes that have been destroyed by the floods. Another 250 homes and apartments and 70 buildings have been damaged. Electricity and gas mains are working again, but individual homes that had power disconnected because of the floods need to be inspected before it can be turned back on. A St. Louis County legislator has a flood cleanup plan that could put young people to work. Representative David Claridge of Baldwin wants
flood victims that we talked with who were at the Red Cross Service Center last night went away quite disappointed. They say they were treated rudely and that the Red Cross wasn't willing to provide the services that it had advertised. The Red Cross opened the service center yesterday at Twin Oaks Presbyterian Church near Valley Park. The Red Cross said it would supply vouchers for food, clothing, motel rooms. Flood victims lined up looking for those things, and they say when they got to the service representatives, they weren't willing to provide them or said that they needed to stay in shelters still. So they were very disappointed, and right now the Red Cross says that it is going to keep a shelter opened an extra day longer, or actually all this week, that was originally going to close today. And the Red Cross says it was simply inundated with too many people to service all at one time. And so they want to set up appointments during the week that people can come back. And
they'll begin assessing all the damage here at the high school and the elementary and middle school. So whatever the board decides today will be contingent on what the engineers have to say about the damage to the schools. Reporting live from Valley Park, Michelle Hoffland, News Channel 5.
Michelle, will the children have to make up missed school days at the end of the year?
Well, that all depends. The superintendent tells me that right now lawmakers are looking at a bill that would not require schools that are flooded out to make up the classes at the end of the year. However, if that bill doesn't pass, these kids could be in school through the end of June.
Thank you, Michelle. The Valley Park residents are also waiting for word on whether they'll be...
The center opens this afternoon at 1 o'clock at St. Bridget's Catholic Church. That is open from 1 until 6, and it is at 111 West Union. Just to recap, the school board here in Valley Park will meet at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We understand that the cleanup will take at least until Wednesday or Thursday of this week, so I wouldn't look for kids being back in classes until sometime late next week, and perhaps later. We'll have more for you on that tonight on our newscast. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Well, flooding problems of a different sort are creating a knot
of picking through a lifetime of belongings destroyed by the raging river. Good evening. Our top story tonight. The spring flood of 1994 has left a devastating path of destruction.
Cleanup efforts in the hardest hit area of Valley Park are in full gear now as people and business owners are trying to get their lives back to normal one more time. News Channel 5's Lisa Sigmund joins us live from Valley Park with details. Lisa?
Dan and Deanne, I'll tell you what, it was only last week where the Coast Guard took me down this very street in a boat. The Merrimack has now receded back into its banks, and you can clearly see the level of destruction.
The major damage was on River Street, where the powerful current from the rushing Merrimack crumbled foundation, toppled walls, and uplifted several homes. Building inspectors who worked during the 93 and now 94 flood know which flood was more devastating, at least to the people of Valley Park.
Well, this one is much worse. The one last time was a lot of backwater from the Mississippi, and this one was mostly runoff from this huge storm. There was a lot more current down there on River Street and throughout all of town.
Kevin Harrowwood has lived here since 1983. He's had it and is now hoping the government will buy him out. In fact, he just finished cleaning up from last November's flood.
In 93, we got about 18 inches of water in the house, and this time we got about 6.5 foot. We put in all new floors, drywall, electrical sockets, carpet, furniture, the whole 10 yards, and when it's all gone.
There are about 500 homes in the Valley Park area with some type of flood damage. 12 homes were severely damaged, and of those 12, inspectors estimate 8 may be condemned.
In fact, many of the people we spoke to, Dan and Deanne, are hoping that their homes will be condemned. They are clearly frustrated. It will be very difficult for them to rebuild yet again, and in fact, near impossible for them to sell. Reporting live from Valley Park, Lisa Sigmund, News Channel 5.
All right, thank you, Lisa.
Well, the floodwaters not only damaged homes, but also businesses in Valley Park. About 70 stores, factories, and shops are cleaning up the mud and water from the flood An A&G Corner Market was filled with 6 feet of water last week. All of the supplies, even canned goods, must be thrown out. The store's owner has survived a number of floods, and he says it's never easy.
It's sad, it's sad, you see all your work you've done, you worked hard for it, just overnight it's a disaster. But, after I went through in 82 and 83 and another 3 floods, almost you learn to live with it.
Now, homeowners and business owners say it'll take at least a couple of months to clean up after this flood. Well, life is getting back to normal for some children in Valley Park tonight.
The Sacred Heart School resumed classes this morning after shutting down for 2 days last week. But 850 Valley Park students are still on an unscheduled vacation as crews work to clean up their schools. Workers have been on the job all weekend trying to clean up the facilities. School officials hope classes can resume as early as Thursday, April 28th.
Everything is going to schedule. It's going quite well. The cleaning will be completed by the latter part of this week, and we think that we'll be moved in with the contents by Monday of next week, and setup will occur Tuesday and Wednesday, and Thursday we believe we can start school.
District officials are waiting on a decision from lawmakers before they will know whether students will have to make up the days they have missed.
Flood recovery is also underway in Arnold. City crew.
You can see her neighbor, Harry Hensley, cleaning up the remains of his tractor shed. This latest flood has had a very different effect on him. After more than 30 years on the river, he's finally decided to move.
Well, it almost makes you sick.
Behind me, it's a very long one. It's been filled and emptied 3 times of flood debris here on the school grounds. Now, the flood may have forced students and teachers out of their classrooms, but apparently did not cause structural damage. And that means everyone could be back to class soon.
The cleanup of Valley Park schools is in high gear, and they are making progress. This is how this classroom looked last Thursday with 3 feet of water. This is how it looks now, all bright and clean. Many parents are ready for the kids to hit the books again.
There comes that point where they're in the way instead of really helping. There's so much they can do, but then whenever you get onto the really bad part, you don't really want them in it.
School officials are letting parents know classes could begin either April 28th or May 2nd. An exact date will be decided later this week. 116 students are affected by the flood, and that's why it's important for parents of those kids to call the district to let officials know where they're living now for school bus transportation. Although some parents may want students to resume earlier, officials insist it's just not possible.
We still have a lot to do yet, and we need to seal the floors, and we still have inspections that have to occur. And we will have various types of engineers out here tomorrow to give us the final okay on the systems.
He believes insurance should cover repairs and losses.
One of the school's big losses is right here in the gym. All the water caused the floor to buckle, and obviously it will have to be replaced.
Still, no matter how good of job repair crews do, some kids don't want to return.
Well, I'd rather just stay out of school because, like, my parents and stuff need help, and getting all the stuff out, and the cleanup has just been terrible.
And it is still up to state lawmakers to decide if the students must make up those lost days. Don?
Tell that youngster, nice try, Rocky. Thank you.
Well, a happy ending to the story of a missing South.
Here, and people are pretty concerned about it. In fact, the Department of Natural Resources is down here investigating it. People want to know where it is, where it came from, and most importantly, how to get it off. The DNR emergency response team is here trying to find out just what this stuff is. It's all over at Debbie Leffer's house.
I've tried to get it off, and it's stuck in my hands.
So you're cleaning up with gloves on?
Yes. Trying to get the rest of the insulation out.
Finding good samples is difficult because the goo isn't in large quantities in any one place. But that is also the good news.
It doesn't look like it's in hazardous quantities. I mean, you only got this little film that's maybe 4 to 6 inches wide on the houses. People just wear gloves and maybe use a good degreaser, wash it off. I don't think there'd be any problems that way, because if there was a problem, by now we'd know there'd be people getting sick, or, you know, we'd have a lot more complaints than occasional irritation on the hands.
Well, it will take a couple of days probably to get those lab results back. What is it? No one really knows for sure. The DNR wasn't real interested in trying to guess what it is, but if they had to, some sort of oil, they're thinking, probably transmission oil or cutting oil from one of the many manufacturing plants around here that may have changed its makeup a little bit, picking up things from the floodwater. Whatever it is, People are saying that it does burn their skin. Some folks have said that even the smell is bad. I could tell you from personal experience, while we were trouncing around here, we got whacked in the head by a branch that had some of it on there and got it all over us. And it didn't burn our skin, but it was sure hard getting it back off. Back to you.
Well, be careful out there, Paul, but what a
Okay.
messy situation. Thank you.
Pollution also may be playing a role in threatening the lives of two of our other St. Louis rivers.
Scientist also has a college campus. The Principia College in Elsa, Illinois is considering a quarantine of the campus, all 530 students, after one student came down with measles. 9 other children in town also have the disease. The Illinois Health Department wants the quarantine. The college is considering it and will make its decision tomorrow. Officials tell me families connected to the Christian Science Church, which doesn't believe in vaccinations, are being very cooperative. The measles path made its way to the St. Louis area through just one child carrying it from Breckenridge, Colorado. That child passed it on to 18 other students at the Principia boarding school in West County. St. Louis County experts have already quarantined all 600 students who go there. Students who attend the school carried it home to Elsa, Illinois, where 10 people now have the disease. Missouri and Illinois health experts are so worried about this measles outbreak, afraid that someone will die from it. They held an emergency meeting here at the health department today. They want to get the word out to doctors, and they're also offering free vaccines to Christian Science members.
We are committed to making sure that this doesn't get out of hand. Every new group of cases is called another generation. And so we are anxious to make sure that people receive vaccinations so that we can stop this outbreak before we go on to a 4th and 5th generation.
Measles is so contagious it can spread in any public place. Here are the symptoms: high fever, a rash beginning on the head and neck, coughing, runny nose, watery eyes. If it is not treated, it can develop into pneumonia, and it can kill. As well, the health department...
News team coverage live from the scene there. Marion?
Well, Dick, here is the evidence of the Valley Park cleanup in mounds along the once flooded streets of Valley Park. But the folks around here who saw all of the heavy rain are now worried that the water may be back on the rise.
I'm getting completely out of Valley Park.
Kenny Budemeyer thinks staying here now would be crazy. After 28 years, the sight of heavy rain and the prospect of high water is driving him out.
I can't take it anymore. That's all there is to it. It's just impossible. I'm about to have a nervous breakdown the way it is, working and everything else. You have to worry about this. Can't take it any longer.
Some buildings in Valley Park fare better than others. You can see water lines up to 6.5 feet in some of these homes. And take a look at this house right here. The wall has just buckled and pulled right away from the foundation. This is Neil Wyatt's office. He's trying to decide now if it's worth saving. He, like many, hadn't even had a chance to move back in yet. And now he thinks all this rain means it's only a matter of time before the high water takes over again.
If it's going to do it, I wish you'd do it now before I get it done again, you know.
City officials are acting as if there's not going to be any more flood water, spending around $400,000 on debris removal and cleanup. But others here in Valley Park are more cautious. They tell me they've been victims too often to try to predict what the river will do. And as a matter of fact, Dick, the Merrimack has gone up about 6 feet in a matter of about 7 hours. It's going to take more than a few dry days to make these folks in Valley Park feel comfortable. Back to you.
Marion, what's the situation with the Valley Park schools there? They just reopened today.
Yes, they did. The kids were back in school today, and the school officials don't feel that they're going to be threatened by high water, but if it should come, they're ready to move out quickly.
Okay, Marion, thank you. Tough situation there. Our 2 News team chief media...
It is very hard to clean up the mess of a flood from 2 weeks ago, and the threat of another flood is looming.
Some home and business owners press on with their efforts. Others are ready to call it quits. But the city isn't giving up. It spent nearly $400,000 to clean up the debris left behind by flooding earlier this month. But for at least one resident, today's rain is the last straw.
I can't take it anymore. That's all there is to it. It's just impossible. I'm about to have a nervous breakdown the way it is, working and everything else. You have to worry about this. Can't take it any longer.
But in all this bad weather, one thing is back to normal. The 2 News team's Betsy Bruce takes us to a wet return to school for Valley Park students.
Rain, rain, go away. Come again another day.
A drenching downpour welcomes Valley Park students back to school.
Earlier this month, the same sort of weather pushed the Merrimack out of its banks, shutting down the entire school district for 2 weeks. More than 100 students were flooded out of their homes as well.
What happened to your house, Ashley?
Flood.
Did it flood? And where are you staying right now?
At grandma's.
Hi, how are you?
Felt like we were coming back for the first day. That's what a lot of people said also. Felt something new.
Had you missed school?
Kind of. I missed it because I'm tired of cleaning up and doing stuff around the house.
The staff is working to help these students cope with their losses.
Some of our friends and neighbors have been through a very difficult time. Some of us were affected more than others, but we all go through it together as a family of them.
Students, too, are reaching out to each other. 2 weeks ago, the Merrimack filled the elementary school with about 2 feet of water and flooded the high school basement. But the district was prepared. All the furniture and supplies had been moved to higher ground. To look at the mess, it is hard to believe students are already back in school. It is even harder to believe this could happen again.
Of course, we're very much on edge here, great concerns for the community and the school itself. And quite frankly, it's just hard to believe that we're continuing to get this type of weather.
Naturally, that sentiment is shared by all the flood victims here in Valley Park. But should the water return, the school district is prepared to move out quickly. Now, that danger point comes when the Merrimack River reaches 34 feet or 18 feet over flood stage. Don?
Boy, they've been through so much out there, Betsy. How many days of class have the kids missed, and are they going to have to make them up?
Well, you know, it's an incredible number. They were out for 5 days because of flooding in September. Now, they've made up most of those days. And now they are asking the legislature to give them a special exemption to cover the 11 days, which they just missed this month. Now, should there be more flooding, they're not really sure exactly what they're going to do about missing all those days of school.
Betsy Bruce in Valley Park.
Well, a 43-year-old